on Mountain Line, they're not the only thing going round and round through town. So are all of Missoula's top businesses and brands. Down Higgins and Broadway, through the North Side, South Hills, even Mullen Road and East Missoula. Sponsor a billboard ad on the Mountain Line and come face to face with tens of thousands of potential customers every week. With 6 clean new electric buses, there's never been a better time to be seen on the bus. Roll your brand round and round, all through town on the Mountain Line. Round and round. Call 721-6800 today.
Are you considering a total joint hip replacement? Missoula Bone & Joint's team of experienced total joint surgeons would like the opportunity to discuss your options with you. For hip replacement surgery, they offer anterior approach, posterior approach, or superior approach. When it comes to surgery, experience matters. Find a solution for your hip pain. Call today to schedule your appointment at Missoula Bone & Joint on Mullen Road. Missoula Bone & Joint. Quality care from people who care.
When you're beyond the reach of cable and fiber internet, look up. Eagle Satellite is our community-authorized HughesNet retailer. With HughesNet, you'll have the fast speeds, unlimited data with no hard data limits, and the built-in Wi-Fi you need. Eagle Satellite has helped our community get online for 39 years. For a limited time, get free standard installation when you order HughesNet from Eagle Satellite. Call Eagle Satellite at 406-728-9999 and see for yourself why HughesNet is America's #1 choice for satellite internet. That's Eagle Satellite at 406-728-9999. Call now.
Get ready to sing, dance, and laugh until your cheeks hurt with the interactive, unforgettable Dueling Pianos show, October 19th at the UC Ballroom. Dueling Pianos is a gala benefiting Montana children, and you can help by purchasing tickets at montanahope.org. Guests will enjoy a lively evening of dueling pianos, hors d'oeuvres, silent auctions, and raffles. All proceeds will benefit the Montana Hope Project and Catholic Social Services of Montana. Kids 10 and under are free. Learn more and purchase tickets at montanahope.org.
Are you interested in putting solar panels on your roof? Do you want the latest on Montana's renewable energy policies? The Montana Renewable Energy Association is a leading voice for renewable energy education and advocacy in Montana. From community-based clean energy events to advocating at the Montana legislature, they work to ensure Montana's future is powered by the sun, wind, and earth. Find out more about MREA and join as a member by visiting montanarenewables.org or calling 406-214-9405.
Tell Us Something is calling for you to pitch your true story on the theme of Tipping Point. 8 storytellers will be selected to share their true personal story from memory on the theme of Tipping Point. And each storyteller is paid a stipend for sharing their story. The live event is happening December 10th with a pitch deadline November 18th. Call 406-203-4683 to pitch your story. Members from our deaf community are welcome to pitch a story online at tellussomething.org/tellastory.
ESPN Radio for Western Montana, KKVU HD3 Stevensville, and 102.9 FM on K275BS Missoula. It's 4 o'clock. Welcome to Montana's only statewide sports talk show. Broadcast on 102.9 ESPN Radio for Western Montana and across the state on SWX Television.
I like football!
Now, the 2017 Radio Sports Broadcaster of the Year on the show with back-to-back Montana Broadcaster Association awards for sports coverage and award-winning sports journalism. Here is Ryan Tootell and Coulter Nuanez.
Hello, Montana. Sound from Grizz practice. Sound from Jeff Choate. The Big Sky Conference preseason men's and women's basketball polls and all conference teams and Thursday night football and ALCS Game 4. Good gracious, do we have a lot going on. Outstanding to be with you. It is Tootell and Nuanez on 102.9 ESPN Radio and SWX Montana Television. Hi, how are you? Great to be with you on a Thursday afternoon. Hope you are having a fantastic day. We are broadcasting live from the Kurtz Polaris studios. Kurtz Polaris at 2904 West Broadway in Missoula, Highway 83 in Sealy, online at kurtzpolaris.com. You can also find us on the World Wide Web, 1029ESPN.com. There, you can listen live on the Listen Live tab. How nice is that? Listen live on a stream. Thanks to Opportunity Bank, your local bank your opportunity. You can also pick up your phone and call us, 329-1899, the phone number, 329-1899, that phone number. All guests join us via the Rankage Brothers RV phone line. Let's take a look at what we got in the show today. First of all, Coulter was down at practice yesterday, talked to Samari Torre, Robbie Hauk, and Bobby Hauk. You'll hear all of them here in off the top. We also happy to have Kevin Thompson back on the show. Kevin Thompson, the quarterback of the Sacramento State Hornets. We had him on the week heading into the Montana State game. We have him on again this week heading into the Grizz game, and happy to talk with him. Great to talk to him. He's a very bright kid, very engaging, and, pretty darn good football player to boot. So a big task for the Montana defense this weekend for sure. Also, we will hear from Jeff Choate from his Monday press conference. We talked about it a little bit. We heard from him a little bit, but there's a lot more there for him to it's harder with Jeff Choate because you get 28 minutes that you got to try and figure out, well, which 40 seconds do we want to use here? So it takes a little bit more. With Bobby Hauk, the answers are about 40 seconds long. So it's like, okay, yeah, well, we'll just take the answer and put it out there. So there's more curation with Jeff Choate than there is the other. In the top of the hour, the brand spanking new men's and women's preseason polls in basketball and the all-conference preseason teams out. Always interesting to see what both the coaches and the media do with the men's and women's basketball heading into the season. So the season kicks off. I mean, don't look now, but we're just like two weeks from like the scrimmage games and like 3 weeks from the start of actual basketball. I mean, it's unbelievable that it's coming up like that. So we will get into some of that. Also, Thursday night football. Thursday night football is when they play it on Thursdays. That's how it works. Kansas City at Denver, an AFC West matchup. Loving this thing. This looked 3 weeks ago like a yawner, like a snooze fest, like 50-0. And all of a sudden, 3 weeks later, all of a sudden, this is a huge, very interesting ball game and a massive one for the Denver Broncos. And the Broncos can win this football game. They are right back in it for the season, it seems to me, in the AFC West after such a slow and difficult start for the Broncos. So big game, and then, yes, the ALCS. We will talk a little bit of baseball as the Yanks host the Astros game for the ALCS, and we will have that for you on ESPN Radio. So there you go. There's our show Outlook. It's brought to us by MissoulaGutterCleaning.com. MissoulaGutterCleaning.com, the most fun, the most insured gutter cleaning service in Missoula. MissoulaGutterCleaning.com. Coulter, how we doing over there? You feeling it?
I need some caffeine.
You know, I was asked if I wanted a pot of coffee made, and I usually say yes, and today I don't know why. I just said, that's okay. Good. Man. Did I mess it up?
Failing me.
Did I mess it up? Should we send an email? Huh?
Liz will really like that.
Just email request.
She'll bring the hot coffee in here and throw it on our laps.
I don't know about that. Well, I mean, is it bad to ask for an assist? I mean, I've made plenty of pots of coffee. This is not about being, some big haughty person that can't make their own coffee, but we are a little indisposed, it seems to me. Like right now, for us to go make a pot of coffee is probably, bad for the ratings. Bad for the ratings. Yeah. So
I am doing well, Ryan. How are you doing?
Dude, I'm so great. Yeah, had a great day. No mistakes made by me at all today. I feel real good. Let's get into it. Coulter, the Montana Grizzlies, they are playing the Sacramento State Hornets this week. I will tease this for you. We had the opportunity to talk to Coach Troy Taylor, Sacramento State head coach today. And this is the first time for me that I've gotten to speak to him in kind of an interview setting. Heard a couple things in press conferences and stuff before, but I just couldn't have been more impressed with Troy Taylor and kind of his demeanor, I guess is what I'd say. We were talking, Coulter. Well, coaches have different personas, okay? They assume different personas, and oftentimes they are sort of to the max of that type of person. Like, they carry it to an extreme, these coaches, and I thought that Troy Taylor kind of went the other way. I thought it was refreshing. So I'll just leave that for you. We will have that for you tomorrow. But Sacramento State, I mean, you can't deny at this point what they are. I think up to this point, we're trying to figure out who teams are. And look, you're always going to try and assess it, and it's evolving. Like, it's never – I don't think you get to week 6 or week 8 or even week 10 and go, this is who this team is. I mean, if you looked at Montana last season, you could look at the quarter progressions and go fourth quarter they were a bad football team, and that's a fact about the 2018 Montana Grizzlies. In the first quarter they were great, and that's a fact. But when you look at how they played game to game and the way things happened in the Montana State game for them and how they were so good early and then bad late and then a chance and then couldn't do it. Like, there was a lot of microcosmic things that happened in that last game that ultimately that's the sort of final word on the Grizzlies last year. But throughout the course of the season, when they're 4-1 or 5-1 and then lose 3 straight to Portland State, and then Eastern
North Dakota
and UC Davis in there, you sit there and you go, well, what is this team? And you're 9 weeks into it, and you really don't. It's not that you don't know. It's just that there's not a fact. There's no final answer. I think this is the thing. Is we're always trying to figure out who are these teams, what are these teams, and I think the fact is that these teams are different week to week. These are kids playing a sport, trying to just do their best, and Montana State, for all of the pumping of the brakes that has happened after the Sacramento State game, they might go crush North Dakota 55-2. And you might go, oh my goodness, look at what Montana State figured out. They're the team to beat in the Big Sky. It can happen that quickly. And so it's sort of a fool's errand to try and just nail it down. Yes, this is what this team is. Yes, this is who this team is. That said, trends are what they are, and I think you can get a little bit of a handle on it. And I would say this, I am very confident in saying at this point in time, Sacramento State is a very good football team. They are deserving. If they lost 55-0, it wouldn't make me think that they had been somehow, that they had snuck into this thing and didn't deserve it. I'm watching this team play football, and I'm going, holy cow, both directions, real deal, the Sacramento State Hornets.
That's why at this level, too, your point is well taken, because at this level, at the FBS level, you can tier teams earlier on, because when you lose, it knocks you down a rung, no matter what. Even if you are an immensely talented team, we're about to see one of the great experiments of the playoff era with Oregon. Because I truly think Oregon's really good, and I think Oregon's going to run the table in the Pac-12. And I think
I got them losing Saturday myself, but
regardless, say they do run the table in the Pac-12, though, and say that they're on a 10-game, 11-game winning streak, but their losses to Auburn.
Mm-hmm.
How do you equate that? They've already been knocked down a rung, so it's easier to tier teams at this level so often. Again, like I said yesterday, unless you're North Dakota State, you're going to lose. So how do you bounce back from your losses? Sometimes you just get straight outplayed. Montana State got straight outplayed. I think the reason where everybody's pumping the brakes, and we'll hear this from Jeff Choate too. He said, we got hit in the mouth and we did not play with the enthusiasm that we've played with. And that's been the whole thing at Montana State. There's been no doubt that they have their personnel deficiencies. They've had glaring weaknesses in multiple areas since Jeff Choate took over. But you can't say, the last 2 years for sure, and more often than not over the last 4 years, they've played really hard. And it's not to say they didn't play hard on Saturday, but they didn't play with the same level of enthusiasm. I think that's why people are pumping the brakes. But when you look at this matchup on Saturday, I think that the things you know about Sac State already that will be true even if they win 55-0, even if they lose 55-0, is that they have one of the best quarterbacks in the country, in the conference in the country, period. Kevin Thompson is for sure a top 10 or 12 guy in the country,
right,
and he could be even better than that. They have certainly one of the 5 best defensive ends in the country, period. George Obina is a freak. If you watch that Sac State Montana State game back, the dude's get off is second to none, man. I told you in the press box, his get off is as good as I've seen since Samson Ebukam, and the only other guys I've seen in the league that have that sort of get off the top of my head are Samson Ebukam from Eastern Washington, Brad Daly from Montana State, Dane Fletcher from Montana State, Croy Bierman, and Tyrone Holmes from Montana.
Yeah.
In the last 10 years. Those are the dudes that are, to me, same level of get off as George Obina. So they got the pieces.
It's a pretty good group, by the way. Nice company.
Great company. But then the other thing you can look at, and this is by no means a shot at Montana State, but the thing that Sac State has that I think has helped them take the league by storm is their coaching staff.
Right.
Kane Ione is a great position coach. It still remains to be seen if he's a great defensive coordinator at Montana State. Andy Thompson's a great defensive coordinator. He is. He's got the resume to prove it.
Yeah.
He's coordinated I mean, that's the thing. Everybody can talk about the failings of NAU. NAU led the country in takeaways 2 out of the last 3 years. They just had an offense that also led the country in turnovers the last couple of years because their quarterback got hurt.
Yeah.
And they're playing wide receivers at quarterback, and it was a mess at NAU. But Andy Thompson, proven dude. People around Missoula, they know Craig Paulson is an excellent coach. He's coaching their D-line. So they have the coaching staff, too. So I think that those factors, if you have elite talent, especially at the most important positions like quarterback and edge, and you have great coaching, you're going to have a chance each and every week out. And I think that's what both these teams that are going to square off in Sacramento on Saturday have. That's the other thing where the Grizz have turned the corner is their edge guys. I think that that's an undertold story of their season. They found some edge dudes who weren't the dudes we expected them to be.
Right.
Milton Mamula, Jacob McGoing, Patrick O'Connell, those dudes are all straight producing right now, and that's helped Montana immensely as well.
One more question, or a question for you about this Grizzly football team, because to me, man, through 6 weeks, they've played better than anybody else. Maybe the lone exception in the Big Sky Conference could be Sacramento State. But I'll say this: is Sacramento State certainly hasn't played better than Montana. Nobody's played better than the Grizzlies, it seems to me, through to this point in the season.
I think we got to pause right there, though. I think that it's so easy to buy the hype. You made a comment the other day that Montana State hasn't beaten anybody. They beat the number 12 team in the country when they were the number 12 team in the country. That's all you can do.
Sure.
Southeast Missouri State's not the number 12 team in the country, but they were when Montana State beat them.
Yeah.
Just as I think you have to say Sac State has played the best of any team in the Big Sky Conference because they beat the number 6 team in the country in their house. That's the best win in the league this year, period.
It is the best win.
And Montana State might not be the number 6 team when this is all said and done, and they're likely not, but you went to the number 6 team who's on a 5-game winning streak, and you beat them in their house on homecoming in front of a more than capacity crowd. It's the best win in the league this year.
By the way, you don't wait till the end of the year and then see where the rankings fall and talk about the teams that you beat. I mean, you do a little bit, but the reality is FBS, FCS doesn't matter. You beat the number 2 team in the nation, you have a win over the number 2 team in the nation, period, end of story. Doesn't matter if it's the first week or the 10th week. Okay, but the Grizzlies, Coulter, they beat the number 4 team in the nation at their house. True. And now we sit here and we're sure we don't know what UC Davis is, right? Okay.
It's true.
We don't know what Montana State is.
And I spaced out that win, too, because actually that's the best win in the league this year.
Well,
because UC Davis is the defending league champions. Yeah. Montana State is not.
Yeah. I mean, they're both great wins, okay? And your point's well taken, though, because I think if you were going to pick between Montana State and UC Davis right now, you still take Montana State overall over UC Davis. Maybe not. I don't know, but I think there's a real argument to be made for that. Regardless, I am interested to know though that very thing. Are you buying the hype about the Grizzlies? Because there is a lot. Like hype sounds like it's not real in virtue of using the word hype. So I don't mean that in this sense, but there's very good reason to have hype around the Montana Grizzlies right now because they have been outstanding and they have been dominant over the teams they've played, even teams that looked like they had some things figured out, notably Idaho State 2 weeks ago. This will be, to my mind, the best team that Montana will have played this year. But I haven't seen anything out of the Grizzlies yet that makes me go, I'm not sure about those. I don't know where the question mark is for the Grizzlies. Honestly, like there are certain things like their offensive line is so much better than it was last year. It's still not one of the elite offensive lines in the Big Sky Conference. It's a good offensive line. And as the position groups go on their team, there are some position groups that are better. There are some position groups that are elite. It's the best wide receiving core in the Big Sky Conference. There's other position groups that are pretty good. But here's the thing. There's no glaring weakness. There is not a spot on the Montana team where you go, you know what, if a team can figure out how to attack that, they're going to be in business. And that includes the coaching staff. Now, maybe it's just a matter of going up against the right team that does figure it out, that does get you on that particular day, or maybe it's a day where you just don't play as well. But I also am reticent to sit here and go, well, of course Montana's going to win every game by 25 points. Because that's not going to happen, it seems to me. If it did, you go, I mean, You go national. You're a national championship team at that point. If you go through your conference schedule and it's not even a game with every team that you play, that's a national championship type of quality team. And I think Montana fans have been sort of whispering about that very thing already. I don't know we're at a point to start thinking that, but depending on what would happen this weekend, if Montana went and just hammered Sacramento State, Coulter, I mean, I don't know what else you would say. They would be a top 3 team in the country, and deservedly so, at which point you go, when do we start talking about Frisco, Texas?
No, I'm not even close to that there yet.
Neither am I.
Because of the reason.
Actually, I guess I am. It might be after this week, depending on the result.
There's 3 factors here. First of all, are you ready for the moment is a real factor in FCS football. So Sac State's riding it right now. They are. But are they ready for the moment? Are they actually ready to beat Montana? And if they don't, I don't think that at the end of the day, you're quote unquote just Sac State until you're not. And if Montana just wipes them, in the greater scheme of things, it's Sac State.
No. See, I don't agree with that at all. I mean,
it's a true factor because are you ready to embrace success? That's what a true program is, and that's the thing the Grizz have fallen so short on. Here's the thing: Montana made the playoffs 17 years in a row. This decade, they've missed the playoffs more often than they made them. But if you go back and look, I did a story on this during the bye week. Montana started 6-2 in 2010, missed the playoffs. In 2012, they had their first losing season in 30-something years. But then the year before and the following year, the year before, they started 2-2, but then surged all the way into the semifinals. But then in 2013, they started 5-1, finished 9-5. 2014 started 5-1, finished 9-5. 2015 started 4-2 and finished 9-5. 2000, and then the last several years, they have been either 4-1 or 5-1. Bob Stitt's last 2 years, they're 4-1 or 5-1, and then last year, Bobby Houck, 4-1. All 3 years, you missed the playoffs. All I'm saying is
plenty of football.
Plenty of football.
Yes.
There's all sorts of trends that can happen and matriculate, and you never know. You're going to think this is crazy until you actually think about it. The number one weakness that the Grizz have is their number one strength. Dalton Sneed is a volatile player. He has not been volatile this year at all. Yeah. You never know. I mean, last year, Dalton Sneed had 450 yards of total offense, including 208 yards rushing against Sacramento State. And the next week, started the game 1 for 12 against Portland State and looked awful.
Totally.
And I'm not trying to pin that on Dalton or predict that that's going to happen or that a meltdown is impending. He's a fifth-year senior that's incredibly comfortable with the offense, and he's rolling right now. But
any kid
like
can have a bad day.
Exactly.
Yes.
And when you get it all twisted up and all of a sudden things are getting outside of what you can rein in, you can just implode. And it happens to the best players in the country. You never know when it's going to happen. Well, I mean, harken back to when Eastern Washington came here, Bob Stitt's first year, and Gage Grubrud, Montana annihilated Eastern Washington. I mean, Gage Grubrud, who you can't really even sack, got sacked like 8 times. Gaiman Sanders almost ended his life. I mean, the Grizzlies win 57-14 and just destroyed Eastern. Yeah. And so you never know where it could go off the rails. I guess I'm not ready to believe in Montana yet, but I will acknowledge the fact that it has a distinctly different aura and a distinctly different level of confidence right now than it has in years past.
And that speaks volumes to me. I buy into that very thing that you said. Here's a guy who's never had a bad day, Samari Torre. He's pretty good. Coulter, you caught up with him at practice. Here's a couple of minutes for you with Coulter and Samari after practice yesterday.
First of all, tell me about the bye. What do you think you guys got done, and what was it like having a week off? Did you feel like you got a little bit healed up a little bit?
Oh yeah, we all could use the bye week really well. We just all got rested. Those who needed it got in the training room, and it just gave us extra time to prepare and focus in on the details.
These guys are all standing right here, so I'll ask you about them, even though I hadn't planned on it. Offensive line, their improvements. How much does that help you guys operate on offense?
Oh, it's helped us so much. They've come so far from where they were last year. And it really shows in their off-season work. They were just just always meeting, watching, spending extra time watching film, just doing extra workouts even after our design workouts. And, it's just, you can just tell they're all cohesive and they're all on the same page, and it's been a great help to us.
Moses Mallory there, when you watch the film back, it's so funny because he pancakes guys, but then he rolls off of them, makes sure he gets up nice and slow. Yeah. He's so funny to watch. What sort of physical element do you think he's brought to that unit?
Man, that's the type of guy you want on your team, especially on your O-line. He's just one of those downright dirty, nasty guys, and he's just going to really take it out of the defense, Just like you said, that extra stuff that he does, just playing till the whistle, and he just wipes the defense out, and he just makes them so tired, and it allows us, we just wear the defense out as the game goes on, and it just, makes it easier to keep putting it on defenses.
This week's second trip to California, second time you guys are playing a ranked team and a team that's hot. So what's the mindset of you guys just collectively going down to California this week?
Oh, we're just locked in, and we're making sure we prepare to the point where we're confident that we're going to win, and I believe that we've done that. It's just putting in the extra time in film. Like I said, focusing on the details because like you said, this is a huge game. This team is hot. We're coming off a bye. We got to step it up, and we're just really excited.
Sac State, they're so good against the run, which then sets up the long yardage situations on third downs. They're so good at the pass rush. So how important is it for you guys to stay ahead of the sticks, stay on schedule?
Oh, it's very important for us to stay ahead of the sticks. That's how you win games, honestly. That's how it comes down to it. You got to move the ball, and 3 and outs can really kill a game. With the defense, we know our defense is going to get stops, but then if we go 3 and out, they're back on the field in under 5 minutes. That's going to wear them out. So we're really trying to help our defense out by putting long drives together and just grinding it down.
Watching Sac State on Saturday in Bozeman, they play so much man coverage. What do you think of the prospects of going against man coverage? That's probably something that excites you and Sammy and some of the other receivers.
Definitely. We always look forward to going against man coverage. If the team feels like they can throw their corners out there and lock us up one-on-one, we like that. It presents a challenge to us, and we accept.
Key to victory on Saturday for the Grizzlies?
Just play hard till the fourth quarter. Finish strong like we've been doing all year. That's one thing this year that we've been really good on is just, finishing through the fourth quarter and really putting it on teams and grinding it out. And I think that's what we need to do.
There you go. Samari Torre, very good. You also, Coulter, caught up with Robbie Houck the fourth after practice. Here you go, the Grizz safety.
First of all, Sac State's offense seems very diverse. They do all sorts of different things. When you look at them, how complicated is it to prepare for?
As from an offensive perspective, it's good to do that and, get the defense thinking. And from the defensive perspective, it's, part of the biggest battle is getting lined up and communicating pre-snap. So that's definitely an emphasis for us this week and getting aligned to everything they do.
You hear, in this day and age in football, across all levels, you hear RPO. Is Idaho State's different than Sac State's, and if so, how?
RPO is similar altogether. Obviously there's a couple different things you can do off of it. I would say it's similar. It also depends upon who's playing quarterback and who that receiver is that they're reading or receivers. So it'll be a little different this week, obviously with 5 quarterback because he's a great runner. But it's different week to week with teams that run that.
Elijah Dotson, the running back, he's probably the best pass catching running back in the league. How does that add just to the dynamic of the offense?
Yeah, that's just an extra guy you got to cover if he, releases out in the flat or gets out and runs a route. So, he's a very versatile player. He's great running the ball, and he's got great hands, like you said. So it's definitely something you got to take time to prepare for each week.
One thing that Coach Houck said last week was sometimes buys might not be good when you're playing as well as you guys have been playing. How do you carry momentum into this road trip this week?
We just got to keep doing everything we do, prepare how we prepare, and stay focused on Sac State. They're playing hot as well, so it'll be a fun game on Saturday.
It is going to be a fun game on Saturday. I'm looking forward to this game greatly. That's what I'll say. It's going to be an entertaining football game and an exciting one, and I'm pumped up about it. I think it's going to be great. Now, we put a semicolon in there because, we just, we got people out there that, everybody lifts each other up. You know what I mean? And we're sitting here, we're talking off the top of the show about you're dragging, you wish you had some coffee. I'm like, I could have had the coffee made. I wish the coffee would have been, I should have had it. And no sooner does that happen than a caller calls in, says, just hold tight. And what do you know, the next thing we got coffee brought to us from a listener right here into the studio.
It's too good to be true.
It's too good to be true.
Cheers to whoever it is that brought it.
I believe it was a listener, Scott. I have to confirm that. We got these delivered sort of in the midst of things there, and so we're going to try and make sure that we get the proper thank yous passed along. But we appreciate that very much. Our listeners are the best. We appreciate all of you, and certainly for something like this is great. And is it too much for me to say, I could use a new car? What happens if I throw that hook in the water, No, this is really awesome. Thank you for this. We're very happy to have this coffee in our hands, and we're going to drink it slowly and enjoy it while we listen to Kevin Thompson, the quarterback of the Sacramento State Hornets, right after this. Hey, been telling you about MissoulaGutterCleaning.com. Let me tell you just a little bit more, okay? It's not a good job. It's not a job you want to do, but it is a necessary job. It's one that has to be done. Your house is going to be much better off to have the water whisked away from its foundation. You won't have stuff splashing and splattering all over, but you will if your gutters aren't clean, if they're clogged up, and you don't have the time, nor do you have the capability. Well, maybe you have the capability, but not safely the capability to get this done. MissoulaGutterCleaning.com. That's where you go. MissoulaGutterCleaning.com. Don't muck around with the gutters. Don't sit there and worry about falling off a ladder, falling off your darn roof. It's already chilly. It's wet outside. Let Missoula Gutter Cleaning take care of this. Get an estimate right now, and then when the job is done, a $20 gift card to your favorite brewery or coffee shop when the job is complete. Huge. How great is that? Okay, they're going to give you a present for doing the work that you wanted to get done anyway for you. It's a win-win all the way around. Online, MissoulaGutterCleaning.com, MissoulaGutterCleaning.com. Alpine Touch has been part of the fabric of Montana for more than 60 years. Decades ago, Russell Street started selling his touch of magic in whitefish. Years later, Alpine Touch's all-purpose seasoning remains a favorite. It's tailgating season, and there's no better way to spice up your grill before a Grizz game than with Alpine Touch. Go to alpinetouch.com now and use the checkout code ESPN10 for a 10% discount on your order. Alpine Touch is here to keep your mouth watering all football season. Alpine Touch, Montana's special spice. In Western Montana, we know shopping local matters, and you may think you'd pay more for the quality and customer service that comes with it, but not at Selway Armory. Selway Armory is locally owned with knowledgeable specialists that can answer your questions. In addition to the expertise, though, Selway Armory also has a bigger selection and lower prices than the box stores. When you're in the market for firearms and accessories, save money with the experts at Selway Armory. Selway Armory, 2825 Stockyard Road, Unit E6, and online at SelwayArmory.com.
No matter how far you may go, there's always one just down the road. Town Pump, ooh, pump it up.
Buy one, get one free at your local Town Pump. Your base sparkling water, buy one, get one free. Plus, high brew 11-ounce coffee, buy one, get one free. Grab a friend and head to Town Pump. There's one right down the road.
Town Pump, right down the road. Pump it up, oh yeah.
Hey everybody, Ryan Tootell, and I'm here with Josh of the Advocates Injury Law Firm. Josh, there's a lot of lawyers in this area. What makes you different?
At the Advocates, we primarily focus on injury cases. That gives us the experience and the knowledge to correctly evaluate your case and work with insurance companies and other attorneys so you get exactly what you deserve to make you whole again. We take really good care of our clients, and we're going to fight for every single dollar you deserve.
Call 640-4444 or online at montanaadvocates.com. There are a lot of lawyers. You deserve an advocate.
Tell Us Something is calling for you to pitch your true story on the theme of Tipping Point. 8 storytellers will be selected to share their true personal story from memory on the theme of Tipping Point. And each storyteller is paid a stipend for sharing their story. The live event is happening December 10th with a pitch deadline November 18th. Call 406-203-4683 to pitch your story. Members from our deaf community are welcome to pitch a story online at tellussomething.org/tellastory. Tell Us Something is calling for you to pitch your true story on the theme of Tipping Point. 8 storytellers will be selected to share their true personal story from memory on the theme of Tipping Point. And each storyteller is paid a stipend for sharing their story. The live event is happening December 10th with a pitch deadline November 18th. Call 406-203-4683 to pitch your story. Members from our deaf community are welcome to pitch a story online at tellussomething.org/tellastory.
ESPN Missoula Sports Center.
Good afternoon, Ryan Tootell, Colton Nuanez. Here's some sports news for you. Former Kalispell Flathead quarterback Brock Osweiler, one of 3 native Montanans playing in the NFL, officially retired from the league yesterday, completing a polarizing but lucrative career. Osweiler, who was a second-round draft pick by the Broncos in 2012, the NFL draft started 7 games during Denver's 2015 run to the Super Bowl. That helped earn the 6'7" former Arizona State standout a $72 million contract with the Houston Texans. During his NFL career, Osweiler ultimately earned $41.4 million and threw 37 touchdowns versus 31 interceptions.
The Treasure State was well represented on the Big Sky Conference women's and men's preseason all-league basketball teams announced Wednesday. Fallon Freeze is the preseason women's MVP despite sitting out last season after transfer from MSU from North Dakota. At UND, the combo forward averaged 13.2 points and 7.1 rebounds per game during an all-league junior season. Montana State senior guard Oleana Squires and Montana senior guard Mackenzie Johnston also named preseason All-Big Sky.
Weber State's Jarek Harding is the preseason men's MVP as his upcoming assault on the Big Sky's career scoring record commences. Harding enters the senior year with 1,621 points, 897 behind former Montana State sharpshooter Tyler Hall.
This ESPN Missoula Sports Center is brought to you by Aspen Sound.
Nuanez, 102.9 ESPN Radio, SWX Montana Television. Hi, how are you? Great to be with you. We are broadcasting live from the Kurtz Polaris studios. Kurtz Polaris at 2904 West Broadway in Missoula, Highway 83 in Sealy, and online at kurtzpolaris.com. If you want to find us on the Soch Meds, as the kids say, I don't know if they still say it, but they did once, so I'm saying it. At Gus Tootell, that's me. At 102.9 ESPN and at Skyline Sports MT as well. You can also find us on Instagram now. 102.9 ESPN, the handle on the Instagram. We go now to the Rankish Brothers RV phone line, and we welcome in the quarterback of the Sacramento State Hornets, the now number 15 team in the nation, Kevin Thompson, back on the show with us. Kevin, thanks so much for being with us. Congratulations on a huge win on Saturday. You guys were, fantastic in that football game. You're the Big Sky Conference Offensive Player of the Week, so congratulations there. Just briefly, I know you're looking ahead to Montana, but what worked so well for you against Montana State Saturday?
Yeah, thanks for having me on, and thank you. I appreciate it. I think we just executed at a really high level. After that first drive that we started and we went 3 and out, but then after that we just, offensively speaking, just executed. Everyone was really just doing their job. All 11 guys on the field, and we didn't really have any glaring penalties or any mental mistakes. So we just played really well, and of course defense was lights out once again. And of course, when they're playing like that, it makes our job a lot easier. And when they're only giving up, they gave up 21 points, but really like kind of 14 points if you think about it throughout most of that game. So just great overall team performance, and it was just a lot of fun going out there and coming home with a win.
Seemed like you guys had some pretty specific scouting of Montana State in terms of weaknesses that you thought you could exploit, and then it seemed like you guys were able to exploit those pretty darn well. It seemed like your offense was never really out of rhythm. You guys seemed like you were just locked in for the duration, especially in those middle 2 quarters where you guys scored on 5 straight possessions. What specifically did you guys find in Montana State's defense that you thought you could have some success against?
Well, we thought, they're a really good defense. They're kind of one of those teams. They got some size. And they got some talented football players. We felt like if we could mix things up and give them looks and move into different formations that they haven't seen a lot this year, and motion guys and try to get them having to communicate a lot with guys going in motion, we thought that would give them a tough time. And, it proved to do so, and we were able to kind of execute our offense really well, with all the motions and going on a silent cadence. And the O-line played great. Again, just the kind of everything starts up front. And when they're able to protect the way they do and run block the way they do, we're bound to have success because it just allows me to go through all my reads without feeling pressured or worried about getting hit or anything. And so just our play up front really kind of was the catalyst to that game.
Kevin, you guys have been playing so well all season long and clearly been playing with a lot of confidence, but for the first time since 2011, Sacramento State is now nationally ranked and at 15 at that, a really good ranking and continuing on. It feels different, doesn't it, when all of a sudden there's national, not so much the recognition, but the belief from the outside that Sacramento State's a good team. What's it like to be the quarterback of that team right now, the way you guys are going?
Yeah, it definitely feels a little different, and but that's something that the outside, the rankings, the attention, it's great and everything, but man, we still got a really long season ahead, and we got to put everything we have into Montana this week. So we really just focused on us as a unit and kind of trying to block out all the extra noise and all the hype because it's only been 2 conference games, man. We still got a really tough schedule moving forward, but we're putting everything we got into Montana right now, and we're very confident as a team, and we think we could beat anyone that's on our schedule. I've said this before. I think I said this last time I was on, but that's just something that we've always believed every game going in this year that we had a shot and that we were going to be competitive, and I think we've done that so far. So. We're just playing with a lot of confidence, having a lot of fun, and, just trusting the process and trying to get better each day.
I remember talking to Brian Berger, Sports Information Director at Sac State, at the Big Sky Kickoff Media Days in Spokane, and he was saying, man, you look at the preseason poll, and number 1 through number 8 are the 8 teams that we have to play. Sac State gets 1 through 8. But you guys have already taken down Eastern Washington, a team that played for the national championship last year. You've already taken down Montana State, which was the highest-ranked team at number 6 in the country that Sac State has ever defeated. Now you got Montana, maybe the most storied program of the last 25 years in the Big Sky Conference. So just playing the 3 sort of big boys in the league right off the bat. When you guys were coming into this year, did you look at this stretch and point to it as a key stretch? And how have you guys been able to have the sense of belief like you talk about when you are playing some of the 3 of the premier schools in the league?
Oh, yeah. We definitely knew, what our schedule was. We knew it was probably one of the toughest schedules in the FCS, if not the toughest in the Big Sky for sure. But I think we really looked at it as a challenge that we wanted to take on. You gotta beat the best teams, if you want to be the best. So it just makes sense to play all the top teams in the conference. And we're really trying to. It really forces you to stick to our philosophy of just taking it one day at a time and focusing on the current opponent, because if you get too sidetracked looking forward, someone's going to come in and punch you in the mouth. So it's really forced us to be extremely focused on what we're doing in the now and in the moment, and that's Coach Taylor's big focus and philosophy, and I think as a team we've done that really well, and we want to continue to do that moving forward. It's really helped us be a more disciplined, more mature team. And, we've been having a little bit of success because of that. We'd like to carry that, throughout the rest of the season.
Kevin Thompson joining us. He's the quarterback of the Sacramento State Hornets. He's also the Big Sky Conference Offensive Player of the Week, and now the QB of the number 15 team in the nation, welcoming Montana on Saturday evening. And the football world is a small one, Kevin, and there you are, a recruit back in the day by the now Montana head coach Bobby Hauck when he was at UNLV. We talked about this a little bit before, but what do you remember about Bobby Hauck as a recruiter and what you thought of him, then as a coach and now today when you're going to go face him on Saturday?
Yeah, it's a really small world, the football community. I've learned over the years, and Coach Hauck's a great recruiter. He's probably one of the best in my opinion. Just really personable guy. Really can connects with the family. You get real excited when I just remember being in high school. The idea of going and playing for Coach Hauck at UNLV, he just gets you fired up and excited to be there. I still have a good relationship with Coach Hauck. Obviously, we don't talk much. He's a coach within the conference. So
sure,
we still got to compete against each other. But I could go year, 2 years, 3 years without seeing him. And when I saw him at the Big Sky kickoff, it was just like I had seen him last week. It was great seeing him. Asking how the family's doing. So I have a lot of respect for Coach Haug as a coach and a man. I think he's a great coach, even better dude, and he gave me the opportunity to start my Division I football career. So it's something I'm always going to be thankful for, and so I'll probably always have a great relationship with Coach Haug moving forward. But I'm definitely excited to play against them. This weekend is going to be a really big game and a great test for our football team.
Did you have any crossover with Dalton Snead at UNLV, Montana's quarterback?
Yeah, he came. He was the class right behind me. So when he came in that fall he came in that fall camp going into my second year. So we played a bit, but then I had that elbow surgery. So we were there together for a year. I was pretty much going through the elbow surgery the whole time, and then I think that he redshirted that his freshman year. So we know each other a bit for sure. And he's a great dude. He works really hard, and he's been successful this year. So it's great to see. Great to see guys that played with seeing success. And they played North. The funny thing is they played North Alabama this year, and Northern Alabama's quarterback Christian Lopez was also a quarterback at UNLV at the same time. So it's just kind of funny,
UNLV quarterbacks running the FCS right now.
That's right, exactly.
Love it. Well, I had a couple Sac State fans that were talking to me, and they were saying that they think this is the biggest game in Sac State history. With Sac State as the number 15 team in the country, you got the number 5 ranked team in the nation coming to Hornet Stadium. Do you agree? And if so, how do you not let that cloud your vision of what you want Saturday to play out like?
Yeah, I mean, it very well could be. I don't know everything about the history of the program. I know it used to be D2 at one point, but it's just something that we leave up to the fans. We let the fans talk about that. We let the community, people on the internet, get to talk about that and have their fun with it. But we just got to treat it like every other game, and it's going to be just like every other game we've prepared for and played this season. So yeah, we're just gonna keep doing what we're doing as far as preparing and getting ready for the game. It's no different than any other games to us. There's just some rankings next to each of our names. That's the one thing that's all the hype around it. But other than that, it's just another football game, and so we're gonna put everything we got into it and prepare just like we have each week.
Well, as the quarterback, obviously, you are going to be preparing for the Grizzly defense. We talked with Andy Thompson about kind of the offensive side of this, but when you look at that Montana defense and what Kent Baer and some of the guys on that side have kind of put together, what do you see? What do they do that's unique?
Yeah, they got a couple really good players. We've seen a couple different looks from them front-wise, but Dante is a really talented guy that, man, he just makes a ton of tackles. And Robbie Haug also is a guy that'll come down, play in the middle of the field, and he wants to get in there and make tackles. So, and they got some big guys up front. So they're a very, very talented football team. Definitely going to be a good challenge for us. And I think they play really hard and they fly around. But I think we're going to put a game plan together to kind of show them some things that they haven't seen much of this season. And, if we execute that, I like our chances.
Kevin, we appreciate the time very much, my man. Best of luck to you on Saturday. Been fun watching you guys play this season. We'll look forward to the game on Saturday and the rest of the gauntlet that is the schedule that you guys got handed this year, okay?
Yes, sir. Thank you. I appreciate it.
We appreciate it. There you go. Kevin Thompson, Sacramento State quarterback. Not often we get them on twice in a year, but you go back to back Cats and Grizz, you get a little shine. So that's good stuff.
When you're flexible.
Well, yeah. I mean, when it's not like he's got anything going on. He's just a Division I quarterback.
Who's going to grad school?
No big deal. No big deal. Take a quick break. On the other side, Jeff Choate. Some sound from him, some reflection on the Cats as we head into the bye week next.
Hi there, it's Les Schwab Tires. We've been helping keep folks safe on the road around here since 1952. That's why you can save up to $152 on a set of 4 select light truck and SUV tires during our fall tire sale. So swing by or book an appointment at leschwab.com. Les Schwab Tires, doing the right thing since 1952. Limited time offer while supplies last. Discount depends on tire size and type. Cannot be combined with other offers. Details at leschwab.com.
On Russell, across from the fairgrounds.
Hi, this here is a King, and I'm speaking to you once again for all them good old boys and girls down there at Rockin' Rudy's. Every time I come to Motown to pitch that great big old store-wide sale they got going on down there at Rudy's, I'm continually impressed by what a great little town Missoula is. And now, guess what? Your great little town is getting a gigantic new civic center, big enough to hold stars as big as me, the King. I want y'all to know I am available for that opening act for the new joint. It'll be my first live concert in over 40 years. I might make enough money so I can quit chilling for Rudy's. Speaking of Rudy's, don't forget their great big old store-wide sale. All their cards, gifts, toys, jewelry, body products, music, and more, all on sale. And don't forget the new Record Heaven location on Ronan Street. Rockin' Rudy's. They're on sale now.
Hey folks, Ryan Tootell, and I'm here with Josh of The Advocates. Josh, do most injury accidents end up in court?
Luckily, most personal injury cases can be settled out of court through a fair negotiation with an insurance company. However, sometimes it is necessary. I'm prepared to do whatever it takes to get a fair settlement. Luckily, most personal injury cases can be settled out of court with a fair negotiation with the insurance company. However, I'm prepared to do whatever it takes to get the right settlement for you.
It's Josh at The Advocates, 640-4444, or online at montanaadvocates.com.
We combine quality ingredients with home-style recipes to create the Montana Club's Fall Comfort Food Menu. Savor our tender boneless beef short rib or caramelized brandy apple pork shank. Dig into our classic savory chicken pot pie or fall for our zesty skillet lasagna. Top things off with our creamy pumpkin skillet a la mode. Scratch-made comfort food that's as real as it gets. Served 11:30 to close at the Montana Club on Brooks and North Reserve, Missoula.
This is Mike Nugent with Berkshire Hathaway Home Services. Berkshire Hathaway provides Western Montana with full-time real estate professionals for you whenever you need us. Our reputation as the state's most knowledgeable and available real estate group has helped build unmatched trust in the Garden City and statewide. If you have been thinking of making a real estate move in the short or long term, give me a call. No pressure, no expectations. Just professional opinions and service at whatever pace you are comfortable with. Give me, Mike Nugent, a call today, 531-1802. And remember, every question is good to ask.
Tootell and Nuanez. Listen to the podcast on the TuneIn Radio app or on iTunes, 1029ESPN.com.
Okay, then. We'll go with that all day long. It's Tootell Nuanez, 1029 ESPN Radio, SWX Montana Television. Shout out, Scott. Confirmed it. Bringing us coffee. Man, what a deal. Appreciate that very much. We are broadcasting live from the Kurtz Polaris Studios. Kurtz Polaris at 2904 West Broadway in Missoula, Highway 83 in Sealy, and online at kurtzpolaris.com. Colter, we got to get right to it. Jeff Choate from Monday talked about some of the shortcomings of him and his team on Saturday. Here you go.
I really felt like both sides of the line of scrimmage, we got beat up. And there's just no easy way to describe that. I think that's kind of been something that we've hung our hat on. I thought early in the game, we were kind of in a back and forth type of game. And I thought that as the game wore on, we did not continue to maintain that aggressive mindset. We got hit in the mouth a few times, and we started to play on our heels. We did not play with the same level of speed, enthusiasm, intensity that we've played with historically here over the last probably 10, 15 games since I've been here. And I think that you go to the why, right? I mean, that's what we've spent the better part of the last day and a half doing, is figuring, okay, why did this happen? And you can point out, hey, was it an effort thing? Was it a scheme thing? Are we fatigued? Were we looking ahead to the bye week? None of those even matter. What matters now is the how. How do we respond? How do we fix the issues that we have? And so we spent the better part of the last day and a half examining us. I think there's definitely some tendency things that we got exposed on Saturday on both sides of the line. Defensively, being a little too predictable in terms of when we were playing man-to-man, and them doing a nice job of having us schemed up. The RPO game hurt us. We got into a lot of run-pass conflicts, and there were some coverage things that we could have done better. On offense, obviously, we're pretty predictable when we do certain things. Although we did move the ball very, very well. Our issues came in the red zone more or less, and we had the turnover in the red zone early in the game after a really efficient first drive, and then 2 additional fourth down stops in the red zone. So you tip your hat to them, the way they toughened up down there. I thought, one of my positive takeaways would be I thought Tucker really operated well. It was probably his best game. Had a couple drops and a couple throws he might like to have back, but I thought he made better decisions. He was more decisive. He got the ball out of his hands in spite of a lot of pressure that we were going to get from that front. But where I think one of the things that showed up for us from a coaching standpoint as coaches, I don't think we had these guys prepared for some of the things they were going to see, and I don't think we did a good enough job of making in-game adjustments in a timely fashion. We'd get to it, but we'd get to it 3 or 4 series too late. We need to get to those things immediately, and that's what really I've challenged our staff with, and starting with myself as the head coach, and to examine again, hey, the why is what the why is. We talked about that with the young men yesterday. Now it matters about the how. How are we going to respond? Because I think this is really going to define our season. It's hard to go into a bye week like this because you got this cloud hanging over your head. I know I'm excited to get back on the practice field again tomorrow and kind of flush this thing out a little bit and start looking ahead to the University of North Dakota.
Jeff Choate talking about some of the shortcomings. He did talk about some of the things that he liked in the way that Tucker Rovig particularly ran the 2-minute offense and felt that they actually moved the ball better than you might have guessed if you looked at it. But, of course, the red zone is where it all kind of happens there. Jeff Choate also a couple of comments on Troy Taylor and the job that he's doing over there at Sacramento State.
Yeah, I think he did a great job, and I don't think it was like signal picking. I think it was just tendencies that we had developed over a 6-game period of time. We were playing a lot of man-to-man on 3rd and extra long, man under 2 deep. Trying to play tight windows against good passers and things of that nature, and they had some pick routes and some rub routes that got us into some conflicts early. I thought that we had a tendency to run a ton of boundary rotation with our safety and get into post safety stuff, and they did a really good job of working the field in their RPO game because the Mike linebackers in a run pass conflict, as soon as they flash the run, he's got a hold, and they were able to get inside leverage on their slot with their slot receivers, and they continued to attack the post, but they did it in a way that they could high-low the Mike. When we were in single safety, and they put somebody underneath him and somebody behind him, and if he stutters his feet at all, there was 2 or 3 throws that I thought were excellent throws, put it right over the top of the Mike linebacker. We just need to not take the cheese and just keep sinking and help the post safety, because on one of them it was a 3rd down on I can't remember if it's their first drive or their second drive. Thompson did a tremendous job of looking the safety off. He looked to his left hard, had a high-low on the Mike, came right back, put it right over Callahan's hands, and all he did was stop his feet for a second. So I tip my hat to them in terms of great execution, obviously attacking the weakness of the defense, but we've got to know our weaknesses, and we've got to do a better job of guarding against those things, and not, hey, if they want to throw the under route, let them throw the under route. We can rally and tackle that, but we can't give them the seam ball for a first down.
We'll say this, if you are a football nerd, that was 60 seconds of pure gold. I mean, to listen to Jeff Choate give you the real thing. Like, this is what we always try and get out of coaches, is to explain to us like exactly what's going on. And he's like, look, man, they ran a double route that forces the Mike linebacker to make a choice. Kevin Thompson, with his eyes and with the way they set it up, gets him to hesitate just enough. And then when you talk about execution, because you hear coaches, players talk about execution all the time. You go, what does that even mean? Well, what it means is once he stops his feet, Kevin Thompson throws the ball 6 inches over his outstretched fingers into the wide receiver's hands, who's underneath the safety on the post route. Okay, that's what execution is. It's doing the thing that's there to be done. But, if it's a badly thrown ball, it could be intercepted. It could be, knocked away or whatever, even though the play was there to be made. Okay, so there's 2 different parts of it. It's getting in the spots to make a play, and then it's making the play. And they were able to do that and, executed very well. But also you see what they were able to, as Coach Choate said, get the linebackers in the example given to take the cheese.
Yeah. Well, and how dorky do we want to get? We can go all the way to the bottom of this thing. I mean, Montana State, what they're running right now, Choate said that they're running the boundary safety on the short side of the field. So that means when the boundary safety comes down, it's hard to explain without having to be able to draw it on the board.
Oh, theater of the mind, Coulter.
What Montana State is doing right now is revealing what their coverage is pre-snap every single play. They haven't played a quarterback that's exploited it yet.
They just did.
Yeah. That was the whole thing. That's where they got to look in the mirror.
We got one more piece of sound for you. It's about Jeff Choate just talking about the future of the rest of the season. Here you go.
I think obviously this league is going to be interesting, man. I mean, you look at the matchups that are going to show up coming down the stretch, and it's going to be an exciting league to watch. And I think that obviously you got to look at it, and no one game is going to define your year. And I think that if sometimes losing early is a little bit better than losing late. And so we control our own destiny just like everybody else does in this league at this point. I don't think there's a lot of teams that are out of the race, so to speak. A couple at the bottom that maybe have dropped a few games and they're kind of looking up at the standings. But if you're a one-loss team or even a two-loss team in this league and you run the table, you probably are going to get an opportunity to get in the tournament. And so, a lot of football to be played.
Well, he's
good. Thanks.
Okay. He's right about all of that, Coulter, though, when you talk about how much is left and the fact that two losses, especially in an extended season with one additional game, you're probably in really good shape coming out of the Big Sky. They have a loss to Sacramento State. If they win, though, at North Dakota next week, this team is almost certainly going to be 8-2 going into the last 2 weeks of the season, and they will be in huge business. Now, those are going to be big pressure games when you talk about UC Davis and, of course, then Grizz Cat. But they're in a great position still, even with the loss to Sacramento State. And like you said, maybe this is the mirror-looking time for Montana State.
We talked about the rungs in the first segment. Just think about this as like a NASCAR race. But when you lose a game, you don't lose the race yet. You just are behind now.
Yeah.
But you can reposition yourself each week, and if you continue to win, who knows when somebody else is going to get a flat tire or is going to spin into the wall or whatever might happen.
Well, if you win, you gain a game on half the league, period.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And there's so many things that you never know when somebody's going to melt down. You never know when somebody's going to play great and upset somebody, or somebody's going to play bad and get upset. You never know when we think about all these programs that are built on these stud quarterbacks. I know Sac State's backup quarterbacks suck. They had to play last year when Kevin Thompson got hurt. Sac State was awful with those guys. So you never know when something's going to happen.
Right.
And so that's why you have to just address it, regroup, move forward, because you can't let one loss lead to multiple losses. That was one of the biggest problems with the Grizzlies last year. They let the Portland State loss matriculate into puking the ball over the field and absolutely killing themselves in North Dakota. They shouldn't have lost that game 41-14. North Dakota's not better than Montana last year. And they got housed because they turned the ball over like 5 times.
Yeah. It's Tootell Nuanez, 102.9 ESPN Radio. Hour 1 in the books. Quick break in hour number 2. Thursday Night Football, ALCS Game 4, and the preseason all-conference basketball teams, as well as the polls around the Big Sky for hoops, which is forthcoming. We'll get to all of it right after this. You missed anything in the first hour? Check it out on the podcast. The podcast available on the TuneIn Radio app, iTunes, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. You can get the Tootell and Nuanez podcast. Listen to it, subscribe to it. We appreciate that. All you podcast listeners, what's up? Podcast available thanks to the Wingate by Wyndham Hotel. And also check out the FCS Speculators podcast. Brand new episode out now. In Western Montana, we know shopping local matters, and you may think you'd pay more for the quality and customer service that comes with it, but not at Selway Armory. Selway Armory is locally owned with knowledgeable specialists that can answer your questions. In addition to the expertise, though, Selway Armory also has a bigger selection and lower prices than the box stores. When you're in the market for firearms and accessories, save money with the experts at Selway Armory. Selway Armory, 2825 Stockyard Road, Unit E6, and online at selwayarmory.com.
Chicks and Chaps helps Montanans impacted by breast cancer. Florence Coffee is offering a limited time special mug with art by Larry Perney to help the cause. Through October, when you purchase one of these special mugs for $25, $10 goes to Chicks and Chaps. Stop by any Florence Coffee location to pick up yours or go to florencecoffeeco.com.
The best flavor under the big sky. Florence Coffee Company.
The big skies are open. Go wild with Opportunity Reward Checking. Go ahead, jump, dance, shout. Opportunity Reward Checking will make you do that. Go wild when you get your 1% cash back on qualified debit card purchases. It all starts with an Opportunity Reward Checking account from Opportunity Bank. Visit a branch today to get started. Then go wild and spend your 1% cash back however you want. Go wild with Reward Checking from Opportunity Bank. Some restrictions may apply. Member FDIC.
The Polaris factory authorized clearance is here. The world's best-selling off-road lineup is priced to move with financing as low as 3.99% and rebates up to $3,500. Live life wide open in a high-performance RZR. Tackle anything from mountains to mud holes on a legendary Sportsman ATV. Get more done with a hard-working Ranger or take on any task or trail in a versatile Polaris General. The best deals of the year are happening now. See Polaris.com or your Polaris dealer for rebates up to $3,500 and financing as low as 3.99% APR for 36 months during the Polaris factory authorized clearance. Kurtz Polaris at 2904 West Broadway in Missoula and Highway 83 in Sealy. Kurtz Polaris is now showcasing all of the new 2020 Polaris off-road vehicles to be the first to get a great deal on brand new state-of-the-art Polaris vehicles at Kurtz Polaris. Online at kurtzpolaris.com. Rebates valid in U.S. through 10/31/19 on new 2015 through 2019 vehicles. Financing offer valid on 2015s through 2020s, subject to credit approval. Offers vary by model. See dealer for details. Always wear a helmet. Never drink and ride.
Have you been hurt or disabled? Are you missing time from work and not sure what to do? I'm attorney Chris Helmer, and Clark Fork Law Offices in Missoula is here to help. Our team specializes in worker compensation, personal injury, and Social Security disability. We fight for the benefits you deserve. Call Clark Fork Law at 728-0168 for a free consultation or visit clarkforklaw.com. Again, 728-0168.
ESPN Radio for Western Montana. KKVU HD3 Stevensville and 102.9 FM on K275BS Missoula. ESPN Missoula Sports Center.
Hi, how we doing? Tootell and Nuanez, 102.9 ESPN Sports Center. Former Kalispell Flathead quarterback Brock Osweiler, one of three native Montanans playing in the NFL, officially retired from the league yesterday, completing a polarizing but lucrative career. Osweiler, who was a second-round draft pick by the Denver Broncos in 2012, started 7 games for Denver during their 2015 run to the Super Bowl title. That helped earn the 6'7" former Arizona State standout to a $72 million contract with the Houston Texans. During his NFL career, Osweiler ultimately earned $41.4 million. He had 37 touchdowns to 31 interceptions.
The Treasure State was well represented on the Big Sky Conference women's and men's preseason All-League basketball teams announced on Wednesday. Fallon Friege is the preseason women's MVP despite sitting out last season after transferring from MSU from North Dakota, At UND, the combo forward averaged 13.2 points and 7.1 rebounds per game during an All-League junior season 2 years ago. Montana State senior Oleana Squires and Montana senior Mackenzie Johnston, each named preseason All-Big Sky.
Weber State's Jarek Harding is the preseason men's MVP as he's just 897 points away from becoming the career scoring leader in the Big Sky. He joins Montana senior slasher Saeed Pridgett as well as Montana State senior point guard Harold Frey on the all-conference list.
This ESPN Sports Center is presented by Clark Fork Law.
Haven't talked much basketball in a little while, Coulter, but dadgummit if the Big Sky Conference preseason polls and teams are not out, so let's do it. We'll take the bait. We'll bite the cheese. It's Tootell and Nuanez broadcasting live from the Kurtz Polaris studios. Kurtz Polaris at 2904 West Broadway in Missoula, Highway 83 in Sealy, online at kurtzpolaris.com. You can find us on the World Wide Web as well. How about that? 1029ESPN.com. Go there. Listen live on the stream. The stream available thanks to Opportunity Bank. Your local bank, your opportunity. You can also just ring us up. Pick up your phone. Call 406-329-1899. 329-1899. All guests join us via the Raggage Brothers RV phone line. Coulter, I mean, you got to be in heaven. We're in the middle of the Big Sky Conference football season, and then the Big Sky Conference basketball season preseason list come out? Come on now. Like, I mean, somebody, you had a listener to deliver you coffee, and we got football and basketball in the Big Sky Conference going. I mean, you're floating over here.
It is a little bit cumbersome when the two seasons are crossing over, but it'll be fun. It'll be a good year for Big Sky hoops on both sides. I think that actually the women's league is
wide open,
more different than any league I've ever seen in any sport from one year to the next.
Yeah, graduated everybody. The
entire preseason all league team. The most accomplished girls are ladies that were honorable mention All Big Sky last year.
Yeah.
There's not a surefire first team All League one in the bunch. And that's why the most fascinating part about all these preseason polls, as you just heard in the Sports Center, Fallon Frisch, who was a transfer from North Dakota to Montana State, who sat out last season, she's the preseason MVP. It's crazy that she didn't play last year.
Never played a game in the Big Sky Conference, and she's the preseason MVP in the conference over there.
She has played plenty of games in the Big Sky because at North Dakota.
At North Dakota, excuse me.
That was her
when they were in.
That was her. It's an interesting story actually because she's from North Dakota. She was the North Dakota Player of the Year coming out of high school, and then she went to North Dakota and she was really good. She was a multiple-year starter. I think she was a 3-time All Big Sky selection at North Dakota, but she was never their go-to. She was always right behind Lexi Clabo and a couple other great players, but she was on that the team that went to the tournament in 2016, I believe it was. The only time North Dakota went to the Big Dance out of the Big Sky. But then, even though she's from North Dakota, she didn't want to go play in the Summit. She wanted to continue to play in the Big Sky, and one of her club teammates is Riley Norgard, who's a former All-League player for Montana State. And Montana State has this very interesting connection to the Minnesota Fury, which is a club team out of the Minneapolis area. They have 5 or 6 girls from that team, but Fallon Frisch also played on that team too. So she knows a bunch of these girls. And so she took the leap to go sit out a year and then play her final year for Montana State. So she obviously has a lot of faith in the program, but I also thought it was interesting that people around the league remember her so well that she was she had great numbers. I mean, she was 13.5 points, 7.5 rebounds a game her last year at North Dakota, which when you look at all the departures, those are the best numbers amongst returning players. There's only one other girl that had comparable numbers, Kennedy Nicholas from Sacramento State. She averaged 13 points and a league-high 11 rebounds per game. She was on the preseason team as well. But I thought it was just an interesting occurrence that Fallon Frisch was the Big Sky preseason MVP.
No doubt. Tricia Binford got to be happy about that, and we're landing the transfer there to Montana State to stay in there. And I guess it makes sense because Bozeman's probably the most proximate town to North Dakota. I don't know.
It's only a 10 or 11 hour drive.
I mean, closer than Sacramento, if I'm not mistaken.
Closer than anywhere else, for sure.
She is joined, by the way, Fallon Frisch, by her teammate, senior Oleana Squires. So 2 Montana State Lady Cats making the first team, there is only one team, the preseason all conference list.
And the Bobcats picked to win the league preseason, which that was not a surprise. That's who I picked. Yeah, they have the most talent returning. They don't have that headliner player, but no one does. Again, there's not a headliner player in the league yet, and that's not to say that none of these young ladies could be. They all could rise up to be that.
Sure.
Oleana Squires' ceiling is very high. Oleana Squires has actually gone through it mentally at Montana State. I mean, she was down to the very final cut for Team USA for the U18 team when she was coming out of high school. She was an unbelievably prolific scorer out of Colorado Springs, and she came into Montana State and was just expected to be kind of a Jamal Crawford type bench scorer, and she was that. And then as they turned the reins over to her, she's been really, really good sometimes, and also she has one of the great green lights I've ever seen. She's just going to shoot that thing on the high pick and roll. She's also a phenomenal passer. Last year at Dahlberg Arena, I thought she had one of the great games in the league.
Outstanding.
She's outstanding. I mean, she put Montana's defenders on the string. She could pass it. She could shoot it. but she's gone through these crazy shooting slumps. And credit to her, she doesn't back off ever. But she can go 7 of 10 and then 1 of 12 back-to-back nights. And so if she can just get that part locked in, she could be a pretty darn good player. But Montana State, they got 5 seniors, including Fallon Friesian and Liliana Scars, but also Madeline Smith, Blair Braxton, and Martha Cooterer. So they are the most veteran team in the league.
Montana, one player on the all-conference team, Mackenzie Johnston, obviously returning guard for the Lady Grizz. Great player. Love watching Mackenzie play. Very tough, aggressive player in Mackenzie Johnston. So she makes the list, and so those are the 3 for Montana.
I got to, before we move on from Mackenzie Johnston, we talked about it a little bit on the show last year, and I played a little sound from Mackenzie Johnston when I interviewed her just about this specific factor. But it really bears mentioning again. She played 40 full minutes 15 times last year.
Yeah,
and then
crazy.
she played 39 minutes, so she got out for 1 30-second break 4 other times. So she basically 2/3 of Montana's games last year, Mackenzie Johnston is not coming out of the game.
It's remarkable.
And she's the primary ball handler and the primary perimeter defender. The level of endurance that takes, I don't think people understand. I mean, she's not just a kind of free throw line to free throw line like Portland State's Ashley Bolston was last year, where she's just kind of sauntering around. Mackenzie Johnston's playing so hard, but she broke her nose twice because she plays so hard.
Yep.
But the level of physical conditioning to go that hard, I mean,
remarkable.
It's why she's a fan favorite.
Yeah, she is. Here's what's also, I think, worth noting. If you talk about adding up the numbers, it is, by the way, Montana State, Idaho, Portland State, Idaho State, 1 through 4 in both the coaches poll and the media poll. But I'll use the media poll just for example. The total vote numbers that you get, they assign these things. 155 for Montana State, 148 for Idaho, 147 for Portland State, 140 for Idaho State. So when you talk about the separation at the top, there's so very little. And by the way, 7 teams received first place votes in the media poll. Now, okay, everybody the teams that they cover, they think that they're going to be good or whatever. But I mean, it's remarkable. Idaho is the number 2 team in the media poll. They only received 1 first place vote. Portland State, Idaho State, Northern Colorado, and Montana all received more first-place votes than Idaho, who ended up at number 2 on the list. So it's remarkable. By the way, the University of Montana Lady Grizz, number 5 in the coaches poll and 7 in the media poll. And right now, when you talk about, I mean, the point is that this is as wide open as it's been in maybe any sport, but certainly in women's basketball in such a long time.
And it's perennially being. Here's the thing: the Big Sky in women's basketball has always been wide open. Well, not always. Since Robin Selvig retired, it's been wide open.
Right.
But it hasn't been so mysterious. I think that's the difference here. That you've always had 6 or 7 or 8 contenders over the last handful of years. But I don't think anybody knows who is going to rise to the occasion. Who's going to rise up and be that MVP? Who's going to rise up and be that dominant player? Here's the way I voted. I voted Montana State 1, Eastern Washington 2, because I think Eastern Washington, they're the team that actually loses the least amount of veterans. Violet Capri-Morrow was their only real senior last year. All those girls that rode that hot streak through the tournament to get all the way to the championship game, they all returned. And so I had Eastern second, and I had Portland State third, because I know that they lose their big 3 in Ashley Bolston and Sydney Riley and Courtney West, but they still have Kylie Jimenez, who's the best point guard in the league, in my opinion. She was a preseason All-League selection.
They're the defending champs.
And they're the defending champs. Yeah. And the other thing is that Robin Selvig won the league 21 times by playing stout, staunch zone defense. Portland State does that too. It's a good formula in the league. Last point on the women's poll, I think that the coaching in the women's side is outstanding. I think that you have multiple coaches that are in it for the long haul. It's not necessarily a stepping stone. You look at, Tricia Binford has been at Montana State for 15, 16 years now.
Yeah.
John Newley's been at Idaho for more than a decade. Seton Sobolewski's been at Idaho State for more than a decade. And then you have the infiltration.
Shannon Schwan's been at Montana for 45 years.
Right. Even though she's only been the head coach for 4 years.
Right.
And then you have the influx then of excellent coaches like Lynn Kennedy, who went from the worst team in Division I to making the tournament in 4 or 5 years. That's an impressive turnaround at Portland State. And then Lori Payne is someone that Montana people know very well, Havre native who played at the University of Washington, who's now at NAU. And NAU's made great strides between year 1 and year 2. If they could take a second jump in year 3, NAU could be really darn competitive as well.
Tootell Nuanez, 102.9 ESPN Radio. Colton, let's go over to the men's side. Let's start with the all-conference team. Jarek Harding is mentioned in the Sports Center there, the MVP at Weber State. I think a lot of people in the state of Montana would have said, hey, what about Saeed Pridgett? Or, hey, what about Harold Frey? All three of those guys, absolutely outstanding, absolutely could be that. I got no argument. I got no beef with this. I mean, I think Jarek Harding is great. I have no idea what he's going to do this year relative to those other two guys. Yeah. But let's put it like, there's no faster player in the league, and there is nobody. How can I say this? I think Saeed Pridgett is the best. I don't want to be too hyperbolic about this. He's the best right now in the Big Sky Conference around the rim.
Yeah, he's stupid good.
He's unstoppable.
I mean, he had multiple 11 for 13s, 12 of 14s. He's just getting straight buckets.
It's unbelievable, his touchness ability. But there's no better finisher in the Big Sky than Jarek Harding.
And the circus style finishes too.
I mean, he's 5'1". I mean, it's. Now, Saeed Pridgett isn't a big guy for being down in the post.
No,
but he's still 6'4",
6'5", yeah,
whatever.
Jarek
Harding is for real 5'8". Maybe 5'9". I mean, he is a little dude, and so what he's got to do to finish is amazing. And he's also, without doubt, the fastest guy in the league. And I would say Harold Frey has the weirdest, great sense for basketball that I mean, he's such a European and even Scandinavian basketball player. It's silly, like the way that he just moves it around, and it always is good. And he really, in the last year and a half, his shooting has just exploded, and so he's outstanding as well. But those three to me are the three best on this list. By the way, Holland Woods from Portland State, and then Mason Peatling and Jacob Davison from Eastern Washington. Both guys, the other three on the list. You get one MVP and then a starting five, basically, so 6 total.
Right. I voted Saeed Pridgett as my MVP.
Yeah.
I think it's
reasonable.
Funny. I think it's funny that the position on the Big Sky list says guard. He's not a guard, but he's not a post either. I always just call him a slasher because he could catch it outside the three-point line and take you to the rim. He's not much of a three-point shooter, but that part has gotten way better. Mm-hmm. But he just, the way he works his body and just gets in the lane, he's so good at all elements of scoring the ball. And it's unorthodox. The thing that I love about the Big Sky when it comes to where it fits into the landscape of college basketball is there's so many dudes that just don't have the physical measurables to get into the Pac-12, but that doesn't mean that they like. Jarek Harding gets as many buckets as anybody. He's just you said. I mean, he's just straight up 5'9", 155 pounds. He's just tiny, but he's as fast as anybody you're ever going to find, and he can finish. Harold Frey is maybe the greatest Norwegian basketball player ever, and that's only because basketball is not that big. I mean, we had Harold Frey on the ESPN Roundtable last season, and we asked him, Who do you look up to? Who's the greatest Norwegian basketball player of all time? He said, well, probably my dad.
Probably my dad, yeah. Exactly. Right. And he's not just saying that. Like, if you asked any Norwegian that knows anything about basketball, who's the best Norwegian basketball player ever? Mr. Frey.
I mean, Harold Frey was the starting point guard on the number 1 team in Oslo, which is a giant city, when he was 16 years old. So he's been playing with pros forever. That's going to be the other interesting part. I mean, last season, Ja Morant and Harold Frey were the only two guys in college basketball that went 30 and 10 in a game, 30 points, 10 assists. Harold Frey spent the entire summer playing in the FIBA World Games, the U20s World Championships. So he spent an entire summer again playing with grown men. We'll see how that accelerates his game. But these other three, I mean, I think Holland Woods is the best big game player. We've seen it. I mean, Portland State beat the Grizz twice last year because Holland Woods stepped up and balled. And he's got that street element to his game. He's fearless. Sometimes he plays like he's a little bit half asleep, but when he really turns it on, he's an unbelievably talented guy. And then, I mean, the unorthodox nature of the skill sets on this list are so sweet, right? Yeah. I mean, Mason Peatling's maybe 6'6", but he's Australian tough, and he's going to get points on the block all day. And I mean, he can will you to victory, and he was so good last year. I thought he should have been first team All-League last year. Him and Jesse Hunt both got second team because they probably split the vote amongst Eastern's big guys. Yeah. And then Jacob Davidson, a guy that I'm actually glad got onto this list because he would have been a first-team All-League guy last year over Hunt and Peatling if he wouldn't have gotten hurt. And him getting hurt, it actually didn't derail Eastern because they still went all the way to the championship game. But as far as the poll goes, Eastern and Montana split the votes. Eastern the favorite among the coaches, Montana the favorite amongst the media, and that's developing into a really sweet mid-major rivalry because those two teams have played for the championship in the Big Sky tournament several years in a row. And what we know about Travis DeCure, he can intimidate a lot of coaches throughout the league. Shante Leggins ain't one of them, and that's watching those two guys coach against each other is entertainment in itself.
The third team too that should be in that conversation potentially as well as Weber. And Weber State, number 2, actually, in the media poll ahead of Eastern Washington, but behind Montana, and then number 3 in the men's poll, or the men's poll in the coaches poll. But with Eastern Washington on the top of that one. So that is something to look at. I find it really intriguing right now that Eastern Washington and Montana and Weber are kind of the de facto 3 at the top, even with, especially in Montana's case, the graduation that they've had. And I'm really interested to see this team because if you look at the arc of Travis DeCure's tenure at the University of Montana, takes over a program that's in a great spot after Wayne Tinkle's the head coach, but also its roster construction is very different from what Travis DeCure is envisioning and how he wants it to look and be so perimeter heavy and very versatile, not having a big guy. I mean, Jamara Coe was great, but, still primarily a guard-driven, guard-oriented deal, not with Martin Broinig being the guy who just has to have the ball go through him because he's that good, too. So it took time to sort of transition out and a lot of massaging, I think, too, for Coach DeCure to get the guys to play the style that he wanted to while also maintaining, the group that he inherited initially. And then last year, in fact, the last 2 years, really the culmination of that for Travis DeCure and what he had envisioned. And now this year is the first sort of new cycle of players into the second generation of Travis's team, if I can say it like that. And obviously when you got a guy like Saeed Pridgett who's going to build a very nice bridge, you would think, from one group to the next. And, of course, Timmy Falls. And there's still others that But when you graduate 4 guys who all played 35 minutes a game for you, there's a lot of minutes that are going to go to guys who either haven't played or haven't played nearly as much as they're going to be playing this year. And so this is a new generation of talent. But also I think that people – and why wouldn't you really believe in Travis DeCure and who he's going to bring in and what they're going to do as a team, and Chris Cobb as well? And the expectations remain very high for Montana, although they're not overwhelming the way they were last year. It was Montana and help everybody else.
That's going to help the Grizz.
I think it will. I
also think that this might sound foolish to say, but I think the Grizz have a chance to be better in certain ways because I just think they have a chance to have a much more defined hierarchy.
Yeah.
Like last year, it was like, okay, Ahmad Rory, he's got NBA dreams, but he's also trying to be this consummate point guard and get the team back to the tournament. How do you balance those two things?
For sure.
Michael Ogina, he fits in anywhere because he's just going to go crazy and just jump out of the gym, and that's what he does. Bobby Moorhead, he's buying in. But like when it's very similar to what we talk about in the NBA. When Jamar Coe's on the court, that makes it so that all the other guys can't necessarily do what they do best.
Mm-hmm.
But you got the 275-pound big guy. You're going to throw him the ball on the block because he can score whenever he wants. When he was out, they oftentimes looked, because he was hurt so much last year, they oftentimes looked like they had better flow. But also, it's just so hard balancing how do you get shots for all 4 of those seniors, plus Saeed Pridgett, plus Kendall Manuel, plus Donovan Dorsey. That's a lot, man. Now I think they have a chance to have a lot more defined roles. Saeed Pridgett can be their he's going to be their unquestioned leading scorer. That right there, especially given his personality, he didn't want to wait his turn when he first got to Montana. He was not cool with it, and he got kind of in some hot water when he had that huge game at Sac State where he scored 28 points, and then he kind of got sulky because he wasn't going to score 28 points very often. And then when they said, okay, you're going to be our 6th man, he embraced it, but he wasn't like that happy about it. And then last year when Jamar Coe got hurt, Bridget carried him.
Showed you what you can do.
But now, with no one else to distract him, I think that I expect him to be a 20 points per game guy.
The question I have isn't about what he does on the court. It's the fact that he is now sort of the unquestioned leader as a senior and really the senior captain on this team. I mean, I'm putting the word captain on there, but the guy that where it was split up between maybe 4 guys last year, certainly 3, and now can he, be the type of leader on and off the court that is the North Star in a sense for this team as a player, and that will be something that's going to be intriguing to me, because there's no doubt he is, as a player on the floor, going to be that, or you would think he'll be able to be that. But can he build the relationships with the younger guys on the team and bring them along and groom them that way?
I'm also so fascinated to see if Montana needs that leader,
right?
Because here's the thing: when your unquestioned alpha dog is your coach, which that is the case at Montana,
no doubt.
But then you have other alphas that are trying to lead. I mean, all those seniors last year were all great leaders in their own right. But there's no singular voice when everybody's kind of pulling at it.
Mm-hmm.
I think Travis DeCure has a chance. I think the Grizz have a chance to then look to one dude, which is the head coach.
Tootell Nuanez, 102.9 ESPN Radio. There you go. Well, Big Sky preseason. Basketball. Love it. You know what else I love, Coulter? Thursday Night Football. We're going to hit it right after this. Hey, I've been telling you about your gutters. You got to get them clean, but you don't want to do it. You shouldn't do it. You're not prepared to do it. You're going to get injured, and at worst, it's going to take a whole bunch of time, and you're going to be angry and bitter when you're done. Believe me, I know a thing or two about this, okay, when it comes to home maintenance. This is one, just leave it to the pros. MissoulaGutterCleaning.com. MissoulaGutterCleaning.com. You go online, you get an estimate right now, and you get all the time back. You could go do whatever you want. Watch the game tonight. Watch the games this weekend. Go on a date. Take your family out for dinner. Go on a walk. I don't know. Maybe take a nap. The world is your oyster because you're not cleaning your own dang gutters. You know what I'm saying? MissoulaGutterCleaning.com. That's how you do it. They're going to give you an estimate. Then when the job is done, you're going to get yourself a $20 gift card to your favorite brewery or coffee shop from them when the job's complete. I mean, that is a great deal. Dad, go be a dad. Go be a husband. Go be a boyfriend. Go be a wife. Whatever it is, whoever you are, it doesn't matter. You can do what you do in your life and not worry about this headache and this mess. MissoulaGutterCleaning.com online. MissoulaGutterCleaning.com.
Alpine Touch has been part of the fabric of Montana for more than 60 years. Decades ago, Russell Street started selling his touch of magic in whitefish. Years later, Alpine Touch's all-purpose seasoning remains a favorite. It's tailgating season, and there's no better way to spice up your grill before a Grizz game than with Alpine Touch. Go to alpinetouch.com now and use the checkout code ESPN10 for a 10% discount on your order. Alpine Touch is here to keep your mouth watering all football season. Alpine Touch, Montana's special spice.
No matter how far you may go, there's always one just down the road. Town Pump, who pump it up.
There's 2 things that can really stress a person out. That's hunger and not enough time. Town Pump can help you out with both. They've got your meal waiting for you. 4-piece chicken and JoJo's with ranch, only $5.99. And Modelo 12-pack cans, $11.99. Stop by Town Pump today.
Town Pump, right down the road. Pump it up. Oh, yeah.
Have you been hurt or disabled? Are you missing time from work and not sure what to do? I'm attorney Chris Helmer, and Clark Fork Law Offices in Missoula is here to help. Our team specializes in worker compensation, personal injury, and Social Security disability. We fight for the benefits you deserve. Call Clark Fork Law at 728-0168 for a free consultation or visit clarkforklaw.com. Again, 728-0168.
Sometimes it's stressful juggling all your responsibilities on the weekends. You know you need to do your chores. You know you want to spend time with your family, but really, you just want to watch football all day. Paradise Falls is the perfect option for a family-friendly place to hang out and still have a chance to catch all the games. Open 7 a.m. till midnight and offering breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Paradise Falls has 30 big screen TVs, ESPN 3 capabilities, and much, much more. Swing on by Paradise Falls on Brook Street anytime you're in the mood for some food or some football. Paradise Falls, 3621 Brook Street, Missoula's coolest hotspot.
Jayco and Rangish Brothers end of the year clearance event is going on now. Our entire lot is on sale, so if you've been waiting for a smoking hot deal on fifth wheels, campers, toy haulers, and motorhomes, there is no better time to buy than now. Save big on a Jayco J-Flight Bunkhouse SLX with payments as low as $99 per month OAC. Or get huge savings on a 2019 Jayco Eagle fifth wheel, starting at only $28,750. Don't miss our final sales event of the year, only where a handshake means something. Rangish Brothers RV Center.
Get ready to sing, dance, and laugh until your cheeks hurt with the interactive, unforgettable Dueling Pianos show, October 19th at the UC Ballroom. Dueling Pianos is a gala benefiting Montana children, and you can help by purchasing tickets at montanahope.org. Guests will enjoy a lively evening of dueling pianos, hors d'oeuvres, silent auctions, and raffles. All proceeds will benefit the Montana Hope Project and Catholic Social Services of Montana. Kids 10 and under are free. Learn more and purchase tickets at montanahope.org.
ESPN Missoula Sports Center.
Good afternoon, Ryan Tootell, Colton Nuanez, 102.9 ESPN Sports Center. Former Kalispell Flathead quarterback Brock Osweiler, one of 3 native Montanans playing in the NFL, officially retired from the league yesterday, completing a polarizing though lucrative career. Osweiler, who was a second-round draft pick by the Broncos in the 2012 draft, started 7 games during Denver's 2015 run to the Super Bowl title. That helped earn the 6'7" former Arizona State standout a $72 million contract with the Houston Texans during his NFL career. Osweiler ultimately earned $41.4 million. He had 37 TDs and 31 picks.
Treasure State well represented on the Big Sky Conference women's and men's preseason All-League basketball teams. Fallon Friege, the preseason women's MVP, despite sitting out last season after transferring to Montana State from North Dakota. At UND, the combo forward averaged 13.2 points and 7.1 rebounds per game during an All-League junior season. Montana State senior guard Oleana Squires and Montana senior guard Mackenzie Johnston also named preseason All-Big Sky.
Weber State's Jarek Harding is the preseason men's MVP as he is looking to break the career scoring record in the Big Sky Conference this season. If he can, 897 points is what he needs to do it. Also, Montana senior slasher Saeed Pridgett and Montana State senior point guard Harold Frey are on the all-conference team. Tonight, Houston, New York, Game 4, the ALCS. The Yankees down 2-1 in this series right after the show. Kansas City, Denver. Suddenly a game of great intrigue and import on a Thursday night. Didn't see this coming 2 weeks ago, I'll tell you that. It's Tootell and Nuanez, 102.9 ESPN Radio, SWX Montana Television. Great to be with you. Also on the YouTube. You'll see us on YouTube. Check out the Tootell and Nuanez YouTube channel. And check us out there. We are broadcasting live from the Kurtz Polaris studios. Kurtz Polaris at 2904 West Broadway in Missoula, Highway 83 in Sealy, online at kurtzpolaris.com. Want to remind everybody, this is great. This is great. We're pumped up about this. Next week, we're starting to give away a keg and a kegerator. Oh, yes. It's not beer if it's not cold, people. So we got it all. Beer for you from the Great Burn Brewery, a full keg of it, and a kegerator from Fred's Appliance. We're giving it away starting on Monday. We're going to do the word of the day. Text in for that. So be with us. We're going to do this over the next few weeks. It's going to be a lot of fun and a great package to win, I think. If you, who doesn't like having friends? Everybody wants a friend. And, I'm not here to be superficial about it, but you're going to have more friends if you win this one. That's all I'm saying.
It's 100% true. Hey, we're going to start pulling Ryan Rossillos around here, huh?
What
we give everybody all this free stuff. So go subscribe to our podcast, rate it, review it, all that stuff. And when the people call you on the phone and say, hey, what radio show do you listen to? Tell them Tootell and Nuanez.
There you go.
Just tell them.
Okay.
Just tell them.
Very simple.
People are obviously listening to us. Then we get delivery coffee, for goodness sakes.
Pretty great. Coulter, let's talk about this Thursday night football game tonight. The Kansas City Chiefs on the road at the Denver Broncos. 2 weeks ago, the Kansas City Chiefs were 4-0, and they were 1-1A with the New England Patriots for the best team in the NFL. The Denver Broncos were 0-4, and the Vic Fangio experience was going nose down into the mountainside. And how quickly things can change. The
the Kansas City Chiefs have lost their last 2 games, including a 19-13 offense. Give the defense of the Colts a ton of credit, but they had no idea what happened to them in Kansas City, and Patrick Mahomes gets more than nicked up. I mean, a significantly turned ankle and really kind of hobbled in that football game. They lose to the Colts, and then they turn around and lose to the Texans in a big game last weekend, 31-24, and now a short week, and they got to go play Denver, and they're now 4-2. And look, I don't think anybody's sitting here going, oh no, Kansas City, what's going on? But they are 4-2. They're not 6-0, and there is, reason for optimism and maybe some confidence if you're now a team playing Kansas City, and maybe even a little bit of a blueprint. Look, I don't know what Indianapolis did defensively, but here's what I do know. Vic Fangio does know. He knows very well what they did defensively, and we'll see if he's able to implement that. On the other side, you go to the Denver Broncos. It is falling apart. They lose by 2 points to the Bears. They give up a game-winning drive at home to the Jaguars. They're 0-4. You wonder, is Vic Fangio ever going to win a game before he gets fired in Denver? They turn around. They beat the Chargers 20-13. They beat the Tennessee Titans 16-zip, shutting them out. They're now 2-4. It ain't good. And by the way, their 2 wins are against 2 mediocre to bad teams, okay? But you know what? They are wins. And when you were 0-4 and now are 2-4, it feels much better. And a couple of those losses, as we touched on earlier, very close losses and controversial losses, particularly the Chicago game, where if you're a Denver fan, you're sitting here thinking we are easily 3-3 and maybe 4-2, just like Kansas City. Point being, it's 2-4 versus 4-2 in division and in Denver. And if Denver wins this game tonight, Coulter, and goes to 3-4, and Kansas City drops to 4-3, and the Chargers are bad, and the Raiders are trying to figure it out too, it's wide open, even for the Broncos, who started off the first quarter of the season with a goose egg in the win column. So this is a giant game tonight. Really, I mean, this is a huge, huge game. It's as big as a game could be to me in a Week 7 type of situation. So I'm pumped up about this. The Kansas City Chiefs still favored in this game on the road at Mile High, but only by 3. So the question mark's clearly out there about how good Kansas City is, and maybe Denver starting to figure some things out. But a monster game for sure. Denver really needs this win. I mean, this is if they go to 2-5 and they lose in division to the probably best team in the division at home, that is a much higher mountain to climb than getting that win and getting yourself on a 3-game winning streak with 10 days off. I mean, this is a huge game for the Broncos here.
Both teams for sure. And I think that when we think of mobile running quarterbacks, you think of Michael Vick, Randall Cunningham, Lamar Jackson, Robert Griffin III. But 2 of the best, actually, honestly, 3 of the best guys in the league, Russell Wilson, Patrick Mahomes, and Drew Brees, are not running quarterbacks, but they use their legs. And that's why I think that Mahomes, he has an absolutely elite arm. There's no questioning that. But so many of the crazy throws he makes because of his ability to extend plays with his feet. Mm-hmm. When he can roll out and then chuck it, that DB just has to cover 2 extra seconds because he can get out of the pocket. And Mahomes has looked like a mere mortal instead of he looked like a supernova his first 20 games. I mean, he was unbelievable. Yes. And he's looked more containable the last couple weeks, and so much of it to me has to do with that injury.
The wizardry of him throwing across his body and all that kind of stuff is because he is in motion, right? I mean, him running the football, rolling out and doing all that is a major part of what his game is, and his arm going to be great no matter what, but how much more dangerous when it can still deliver no matter where he is in a 53-yard wide, field width. And in motion, not set up or any of that. And so his limitations in terms of his mobility significant to his game, no doubt about it. And I'll be interested to see how far he has progressed or not in this football game in that regard. I mean, that's going to be a big key to it. And I think Denver, anytime you have a new quarterback, even when it's professional, or a new quarterback, a new coach, and a new quarterback for that matter, in Joe Flacco, you take some, you want to believe in him, and you know that he's got credentials, and he's going to get in there and he's going to get you going. There's a reason he's a professional and all that. But until you really deliver the wins, I think you're like, okay, well, but are we going to do it? Are we going to break through? And especially when you're 0-4 with 2-point losses, you go, is it ever going to happen for us? Are we already sunk? Is the season already over? And to have back-to-back wins, I think, is a real troop rallying thing. That you got to have the W's. They finally got a couple of them. It doesn't matter who it wouldn't have mattered if it was the Redskins and the Dolphins in back-to-back weeks. You got wins. You had to have them, and you got them. And by the way, it wasn't. It was a divisional opponent in the Chargers, and it was a Tennessee team that is sort of middle of the road, I guess. And so you take those wins, and now you have at least some belief. Now, you know what I think about momentum. I'm not really into it week to week. I mean, within games for sure, but not necessarily week to week. But you have to have belief, man. And belief, I am a big believer in, if that makes sense. Doxastic realities wrapped in each other. But you got to have that. And Denver in the last 2 weeks has gotten that. So I don't know if that translates to a win because, look, at the end of the day, Kansas City's better than Denver. I mean, the talent at Kansas City, I think, is better than the talent at Denver. But I like this matchup tonight, and I think this is a huge, huge football game.
And a huge rivalry game. Who do you got? Chiefs negative. Chiefs -3.
I don't know. I grew up, now people don't know. I grew up a Denver fan, okay? And I still, if I can.
Why did you gravitate away from that?
So I could continue living at home.
Mom's opinions are stronger than Dad's.
Jennifer is ruthless, where Dad is a little more, can we say, giving, caring when it comes to the rooting interest.
Must be nice to be you. John Elway and Brett Favre as a kid. What a thing.
My first ever football game, Mile High Stadium. John Elway v. Bernie Kosar in the Browns-Broncos. I think it was 89. Man. Monday Night Football. The whole thing, dude.
My first ever was watching Tim Tebow. Pretty comparable.
Yeah. Better for me. Better memory for me there. So I am into Denver. I'm excited about Denver. I want them to do well, but I think Kansas City is going to win because this is a big game I think it's a huge game for Denver. It's a big game for Kansas City too, though. You lose 3 in a row. And now into a divisional opponent, and you make this race wide open. I mean, you want to continue to assert yourself as the best team, particularly on the road. I mean, you win one on the road, and you're kind of in the driver's seat. I just think Kansas City is better. So if I'm picking this thing, I'll probably take the Chiefs to cover that 3. But I like the Denver Broncos, man. I want to see the Broncos do it, especially at Mile High, man. What a great place! What a great venue. I mean, they're going to be lit up in a Mile High city tonight.
Got the Broncos.
Okay. That's what I want to hear. This old man only speaks with his head anyway. So if you're saying the Broncos, that makes me feel good. Quick break. Hey, ALCS Game 4 coming up at the top of the hour. We're going to send you to New York City. We're going to set you up for this baseball game right after this. Coulter, people flying around, driving around. It's a big state. In-laws coming in. People leaving town. Maybe you got a corporate event that you need a space for. Maybe you just want to take the kids and go in a swimming pool and slide on a water slide. Well, guess what? The Wingate by Wyndham in Missoula, they got all of it covered for you.
It is football season, so if you got people coming to town next week for the Eastern Washington game with the Grizz coming back home, send them to Wingate by Wyndham. Great place there. Also, if you are traveling around the state or if you're just in town and you need a place for business meetings, Wingate by Wyndham, they have a great rewards program, and they also have great conference spaces where they need a meeting for 2 or 200. They have some of the best rates in town, some of the best rates in all of Montana. They have a great audio-visual setup. Wingate Rewards continues to be recognized as one of the best hotel loyalty programs in the United States, and it makes it really easy for Wingate's guests to earn free night stay or airline miles. They got it all. Their corporate rates offer year-round discounts even during the busiest times for qualified regular travelers and guarantee that business traveler fees at home, business traveler fees will not raise. Let the Wingate by Wyndham make you feel at home even when you're not.
Garden City Paint and Glass in Missoula is like your paint doctor. They take the pain out of painting. Don't trust your home to anything less than professional PPG paints from Garden City Paint and Glass. Go to visualizecolors.com. Scan in your room photo to see what color combinations will look best before painting. That's visualizecolors.com. Featuring professional PPG paints. Garden City Paint and Glass in Missoula, across from the Southside McDonald's at 3217 Brooks.
Hi, this here is a king, and I'm speaking to you once again for all them good old boys and girls down there at Rockin' Rudy's. You know, every time I come to Motown to pitch that great big old store-wide sale they got going on down there at Rudy's, I'm continually impressed by what a great little town Missoula is. And now, guess what? Your great little town is getting a gigantic new civic center, big enough to hold stars as big as me, the king. I want you all to know I am available for that opening act for the new joint. It'll be my first live concert in over 40 years. I might make enough money so I can quit chilling for Rudy's. Speaking of Rudy's, don't forget their great big old store-wide sale. All their cards, gifts, toys, jewelry, body products, music, and more, all on sale. And don't forget the new Record Heaven location on Ronan Street. Rockin' Rudy's. They're on sale now.
Hey folks, Ryan Tootell here, and I'm with Josh from the Advocates Injury Attorneys. Josh, if our listeners have been injured in an accident, how can you help?
We're here to help you after a car accident by negotiating with insurance companies, recovering lost wages if you have any, and even getting you into a rental car if you need one. Call us today for a free consultation, and we'll get started helping you right away.
If you need help, get a hold of the Advocates. Call Josh at 640-4444 or online at montanaadvocates.com. You deserve an advocate.
We combine quality ingredients with home-style recipes to create the Montana Club's fall comfort food menu. Savor our tender boneless beef short rib or caramelized brandy apple pork shank. Dig into our classic savory chicken pot pie or fall for our zesty skillet lasagna. Top things off with our creamy pumpkin skillet a la mode. Scratch-made comfort food that's as real as it gets. Served 11:30 to close at the Montana Club on Brooks and North Reserve, Missoula.
This is Mike Nugent with Berkshire Hathaway Home Services. Berkshire Hathaway provides Western Montana with full-time real estate professionals for you whenever you need us. Our reputation as the state's most knowledgeable and available real estate group has helped build unmatched trust in the Garden City and statewide. If you have been thinking of making a real estate move in the short or long term, give me a call. No pressure, no expectations. Just professional opinions and service at whatever pace you are comfortable with. Give me, Mike Nugent, a call today, 531-1802. And remember, every question is good to ask.
Tootell and Nuanez on 102.9 ESPN Radio for Missoula.
You ready for a little baseball? Night off last night. Ugly weather. Everything looks like it's green lit for first pitch at 6:08 p.m. Mountain Standard Time from the Big Apple. Yanks, Stros. It's Tootell Nuanez, 102.9 ESPN Radio. Broadcasting live from the Kurtz Polaris Studios. Kurtz Polaris at 2904 West Broadway in Missoula. Highway 83 in Sealy. Online at kurtzpolaris.com. You can find us on the World Wide Web as well. 102.9ESPN.com. There you can listen to the podcast. Or you can go get it on your favorite podcasting platforms as well. It's the Tootell Nuanez podcast. It's available everywhere. Listen, subscribe, rate it. We appreciate it. Brought to us by the Wingate by Wyndham Hotel. Also want to remind everybody, FCS Speculators out. Episode 4. It's a good one. Arrow pointing straight up on the FCS Speculators podcast. So go give that a listen and enjoy that. We handicap all the games of the weekend for you. They're around the Big Sky Conference, several around the FCS, outside of the Big Sky Conference as well. So it's a fun time. Enjoy that. Coulter tonight, 6:08, New York Yankees, Houston Astros, Game 4. The Yankees a slight favorite in this game. Tanaka.
They do baseball odds?
Oh,
What? I mean, of course they do. They got odds on like what color underwear you're gonna have at the Super Bowl halftime show.
They're very specific. -129 on the money line for the New York Yankees, favorite in this baseball.
So basically, they don't give points though, right?
No, well, you can do I think they do like a run and a half. On that. It's a 1.5 points on the line. So there is a scoring line. -1.5 for the Yankees, so they got to win by 2 or more. The Yanks for you to cover on the runs.
Got it. But you can just bet it straight up, though, right?
Yep, and you get the money line -129. So you bet 129 to win 100. Or what is the money line for the Astros +119? So you bet 100 to win 119 on the Astros tonight, which I think is. That's a good play, it seems to me, because I like the Astros in general against the Yankees. The Yankees do got to get this one. With the night off, they roll out Masahiro Tanaka, their ace. He's going to go against Zach Greinke, who's very good, but is not the Astros ace, although the Astros sort of have 3 aces. But this is one. So the strength of the pitching in New York is the bullpen. They rely heavily on it, and they have a great bullpen. Their starting pitching is not nearly what Houston's is, and by the way, whose is, but it's a particularly wide gap between the Yankees and the Astros, and really, this is the type of matchup where if the Yankees were going to go toe-to-toe with their starter against the Astros, it's probably Tanaka, that they're going to roll out there and say, this is the horse that we need to go not 3 or 4 innings, 5, 6 innings, maybe even more potentially. This also, if Houston gets this game 3 or game 4, and is up 3-1 with the rotation they have, it just seems. Garrett Cole and Justin Verlander on the horizon, especially with a day off where you can turn those guys around quickly. Garrett Cole pitched in game 3. He could pitch again easily in game 6, full start for him, because there was a day off there, and you got Verlander in between. That is. You telling me that the Yankees are going to win 3 straight against those guys? I don't think so. So, you talk about must win and all that, whatever. But if the Yankees lose this, I think it's a Houston-Washington World Series. I think that's what we're staring at, right? And, I'm not going out on a small limb. Any team that's up 3-1 is in, obviously, the driver's seat, but particularly in this series with this rotation. And the other thing is, I don't know that there is a team that has a particular leg up is much better, clearly better than the other team when it comes to offense. Like, both these lineups mash in different ways. Obviously, the Yankees are a much more home run hitting team, where Houston is a little more in the more traditional small ball style, although they can yank it out the park as well. But offensively, they're both just incredibly potent lineups, almost top to bottom. So that kind of cancels it out. So to me, it's all about the defense and the pitching then at that point. And the starting pitching goes to Houston for sure. The bullpen goes to the Yankees. But to get to the bullpen, you kind of got to have a lead. To get in there, you got to find a way to get to the starting pitching in Houston. I haven't seen it yet.
Did you see the video that went viral of the guy at Yankee Stadium who's like sitting in the stands and he's like, "It's the American League Championship Series. Why is everybody sitting?" It's just I have not seen it. It was such a sign of the times, because it was clearly in the section that's like behind, not directly behind home plate, but the lower section. I'm sure that those tickets are hundreds of dollars for the ALCS, maybe even more. At least, yes. Real estate in New York is expensive. And the people that are taking the video were like making fun of the guy, but I just thought it was such a sign of the times, because the guy's like standing up and he's like, "Why is nobody standing? It's 2 outs in the ALCS, blah blah blah," and everybody's just like in the video laughing at him, like, "Look at this guy." I don't know what's going to happen to the world. Hard right into societal analysis and nothing about baseball. I was just watching this video over and over again, and on one hand, I don't like the guy who's making everybody else around him uncomfortable by being unnecessarily enthusiastic, but also, like, what is everybody else doing? Right. Like, all the people in the videos are just like sitting there eating their popcorn. You spent $1,000 to go to this baseball game to videotape a guy standing up and not even into the baseball game. That's the one thing about football games that still remains so cool, is that the atmosphere is almost everywhere. I should say almost everywhere. But in all the prestigious college programs and all the reputable NFL teams, people are still going pretty crazy. Like the atmosphere tonight at Mile High is going to be great. People are going to be going hard.
Yeah.
The Raiders, those fans still go crazy. I mean, I'm sure the LA Chargers in their soccer stadium or whatever. I'm sure it's not great, but you can get caught up in it. I just think it's so weird that people are so hesitant now to like show emotion and stuff like that.
You know, the venue where this societal lethargy of which you speak is infiltrating the most? Concerts. I'm so tired of going to concerts.
Your brother was about to kill somebody at Incubus.
Furious.
We were all. My roommate has hilarious videos. We talked about this. We have our whole friend group. We love Incubus, and we were raging, moshing, screaming. I had no idea that no one else around us was doing that. I thought everybody was doing it because there was 15 of us doing it. My roommate has videos from the hill at the Kettle House Amphitheater of just this pocket of giant men mashing into each other.
Who everybody else is utterly annoyed by.
And everybody else is just standing there.
Yes.
Yeah, it's crazy. We were doing the same thing at Pearl Jam. We were all loving it and singing, and everybody around us like, why are you guys doing? Why are you doing that? It's like, well, because I paid $150 for my ticket, and this is my favorite band. I'm going to rage.
And this is why my brother, bless him, is into like underground Japanese punk, because he can go for $2, take his shirt off, and run into walls. That's it.
Back to the baseball
of the year.
Back to the baseball game. I thought your analysis was spot on.
Thank you.
I think the baseball season's so long that a team affirms themselves as the favorite early on, and I think sometimes that loses its luster in terms of when they get to this point. But the Astros won 107 games. I mean, there's no team that I can remember in the last handful of years. I mean, the Red Sox were stacked last year.
Sure.
There's been good teams. But as far as the combination of starting pitching with the powerhouse offense that the Astros have, they are really, really, really good. And they have some really star caliber guys. I mean, the Astros have so many likable guys on their team, too. And I agree with you. If the Astros win tonight in New York, it's a matter of time before it's curtains.
It's curtains.
Who are you going for? You going for the Yankees? I don't.
I said that at the beginning because it was going to be like an ongoing thing, but I think it's all over. I love this Astros team, man. You know what I love about the Astros right now? Never would have thought this. The uniforms, the cream with the orange. I love with the orange on the.
I still can't get over the fact that they're in the American League.
It's only been 20 years, Coulter.
They're an NL Central team. How are they in the American League West? I just can't get over it.
It's Tootell, Nuanez. Boys and girls, have a wonderful evening. Enjoy baseball on ESPN Radio tonight. Thursday night football as well. We'll be back tomorrow. We'll reset the whole thing for you. Head into a weekend. Good night.
Hi there, it's Les Schwab Tires. We've been helping keep folks safe on the road around here since 1952. That's why you can save up to $152 on a set of 4 select light truck and SUV tires during our fall tire sale. So swing by or book an appointment at leschwab.com. Les Schwab Tires, doing the right thing since 1952. Limited time offer while supplies last. Discount depends on tire size and type. Cannot be combined with other offers. Details at leschwab.com.
On Russell, across from the fairgrounds.
It happens. You're positive you put your bank card back in your wallet, but the next time you need it, it's missing. Avoid the panic and take control with the MyCard app and debit card from Farmer State Bank. Our app lets you control your debit card and securely turn it off right from your phone. Safe, secure, instant. MyCard is available only at Farmer State Bank. Ask about it at any of our 9 locations or learn more at farmersebank.com. Farmer State Bank, member FDIC.
Hey folks, Ryan Tootell here, and I'm with Josh of the Advocates Injury Attorneys. Josh, what are people left dealing with after an accident?
Well, quite a few things, actually. We see people that are in pain, they still need to get to work, they need to raise their kids, and now they have to take time to go see doctors and other healthcare providers. They're frustrated with working with the insurance companies and getting the runaround. We'll take on the burden of dealing with the insurance companies so you can get the best settlement possible and get back to your life.
Find your advocate online at montanaadvocates.com. There are a lot of lawyers. You deserve an advocate.
There's only one way to really enjoy fall sports, and that's on a full stomach. So whether you're watching the NCAA, MLB, NHL, NFL, NBA, whatever the letters, the Desperado has an A-plus menu to fill your belly while you're cheering on your team. Head to the Desperado for a juicy bacon burger, a steaming plate of cheesy nachos, ice-cold beer, and hands down, the best hot wings in town. If it's a steak you're looking for, well, they've got that too. Whether the game ends in a win or a loss, get your winner Despo dinner at the Desperado Sports Tavern on South Russell, across from the Y.
Are you interested in putting solar panels on your roof? Do you want the latest on Montana's renewable energy policies? The Montana Renewable Energy Association is a leading voice for renewable energy education and advocacy in Montana. From community-based clean energy events to advocating at the Montana legislature, they work to ensure Montana's future is powered by the sun, wind, and earth. Find out more about MREA and join as a member by visiting montanarenewables.org